Hey, Peachy.
Hey, Blue.
We're at it again.
We're at it again. Hey, you. We're back. Yeah, we threatened and we promised.
And we're delivering.
And we're delivering. It's better than being in delivery. But
been there, done that twice.
Just saying.
Yeah, yep. Another good thing about being vintage. Don't have to think about that
Don't
anymore.
have to, thank God we don't have to worry about that. But miracles do happen.
Speaking of that, we are vintage, Vixens, and Vino.
Yes.
And just so that you remember, she's Peachy and I'm Blue.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm wearing blue. I tried to remind myself today.
Oh, okay.
So
And
hopefully it'll help. And
I'm just freaking peachy. You figure it out today. Okay. Well, as promised, this time we're going to talk about something else. We are going to talk about vintage vices. Now, we all have vices. They're all things that we know we should or shouldn't do, but we do it anyway. But the reason why we're calling it vintage vices is because these are things that when we were much younger, we had them as vices, but the ramifications or the impact wouldn't be as serious as they could be right now.
You mean a moment on your lips and a lifetime on your hips really is true?
Lips and hips. Well, something wrong with that.
I think my grandmother was talking about sweets.
I am too. At least that's what I've been told. Anyway, okay. I can't take her anywhere. She won't act right. But there are so many vices that people may have.
Right.
We are only going to tackle three. And these are common not only in people of a certain age that are vintage, but also in younger people.
Yes.
But since we're only talking and only care about us right now, that's what we're going to talk about.
We're going to be selfish. We're going to talk about people who are vintage and how these things that we used to do, or maybe things that we can afford to do now because we have the time, we have the income, we have the ability, could do, but we probably shouldn't.
We should.
Right.
Because the impact is much more serious now.
Right.
We are choosing three things. And they are
food,
shopping,
and sex.
Yes, we said it. Sex. We saved the best for last. It's always best when it lasts.
Well, all three of these are good. I mean, they can be really, they can be really good.
And it's best when it could be really good.
It could be really good, yeah.
Especially when it's okay.
Never
but
mind.
I'm digressing.
But
so we're going to start off with food. Now, food is something that we all love.
And we have to have.
It's something that when we were young, we used to have anything. I know personally, me, I could eat anything I wanted and it never showed on my hips, never showed anywhere. And I didn't have to worry about those little nasty things like diabetes, cholesterol, whatever, all the stuff vintage people have to. But what we want to talk about now, for instance, is just because we have the resources now and the time does not mean we should. And with food, we're talking what?
We're talking fast food. We're talking eating out every day. We're talking going to great restaurants, but some of those things just aren't good for us because we end up eating things that might be hazardous to our health.
Exactly. For instance, fast food. Now, we aren't going to throw shade on a particular fast food item, but you know what fast food means and you know what it is. You know it's loaded with sodium. You're hypertensive. You don't need to eat it. Most of it is high in cholesterol, the really good stuff, like the fried stuff and stuff that we really like. Leave it alone because we don't want you to stroke out. We want you to be around and healthy.
Now, how many people of the vintage age are already on cholesterol medication and high blood pressure medication? And why would you want to add to those issues by what you're eating?
Yes. Now, every now and then, or maybe even just once a week, moderation, people. It's okay.
Moderation in everything?
Well, some things, the more the better.
So 2 glasses of wine is okay?
Yeah, but that wasn't
3?
Yeah, if you're not driving, you can have a whole bottle.
But then at least they're not moderation in other things, right? We'll get to that.
But again, when we were young, the fast food, it didn't matter.
Right.
Most of us, unless we were type 1 diabetic, juvenile diabetes, we weren't diabetic, so it didn't matter if we ate the stuff that was high in sugar content. I love peach cobbler. I love pound cake.
I love cheesecake. Any kind of cheesecake. Beefcake?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking. But it can be sweet. But what do I love as far as sweets? I love.
I hear you
peach
make a killer banana pudding.
I love to make banana pudding. Love to eat it. Love to make it. I also like to make my mother's old-fashioned pound cake, and I love making peach cobbler. A lot of work, but I love it. But I love it. Fortunately, I do not have diabetes, but I don't want to get there. I don't want to become pre-diabetic, because once you become diabetic, you have to take medicine for the rest of your life. And when you're vintage, you got more years behind you than you do.
Right.
Ahead of
and
you.
all of these foods also add pounds to us.
Pounds.
And anytime you add pounds, it typically increases your cholesterol. It increases your opportunity to end up with diabetes. All of that. So it's always been true. What goes into our mouth is very important. And the older we get, you wipe that smirk off your face. The older we get, the more important it is that we eat well. Because I want to live long enough to see my grandkids married with families and to be a great grandma.
I want to live long enough to experience all life has to offer, because now I have the time and a few resources, and I want the love of my life to be there, and for him to enjoy me and
vice versa. Right. Right. So food is important. I think moderation, what you said, is the key. We don't have to deny ourselves everything, but just maybe not a pint of ice cream at 10 o'clock at night before we go to bed. I don't know. Just saying.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
You said that out loud again. Jeez.
Vintage
Oh my goodness.
That
All right, well, let's just change the subject quick. We'll reel you back in.
Okay.
The next thing we want to talk about is shopping. Shopping has gotten easier than ever, especially in the last 18 months or so.
Yes.
Many of us have learned how to do online shopping for anything you could possibly think of. Now, it's great if you can't get out of the house, or you don't want to go out and go grocery shopping or something like that. Those services are fabulous. However, the ones that come on the TV, like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, are not good for your pocketbook. They're not good for your closet, unless it's something that you really truly need. So how many pairs of shoes does a person need if they're not going to work every day?
Well, it depends on how many people you have in your life. But okay.
So anyway,
but seriously,
if you find a pair that you really like, do you really need 5 pairs in every color?
No.
Maybe you do. Maybe they're the ones that are the best for your feet, and they're going to help you live your best life. That's one thing. But you probably don't need more clothes in your closet that you're maybe only going to wear once. I don't know. I'm looking at my own closet lately and thinking, I haven't worn this or this or this or this. I can't get into this yet. These are all too big for me. So I need to do some paring down of my closet. And the more vintage I get, the less stuff I desire to accumulate.
Right. And think about the things that you bought, the 5 pairs of whatever it is that you haven't even worn yet. Rule of thumb, if you haven't worn it in the past 12 months, you're probably not going to wear it.
Right. For some reason, you're not going to wear it. And this isn't just for women. This is for men, too. I have a former acquaintance who, whenever he saw something that was a good buy, he had to buy it because it was a really good buy. He did woodworking when he was younger. He always thought that he would do woodworking again. He had 5 palm sanders, 4 circular saws. I don't know how many other tools that he never used. He passed away last year, and all of those things are sitting in his shop, rusting and dusty, which is sad. It's really sad. But really, what do we need at this age? What do we need?
Yeah. So, now, and there, of course, there's this during COVID and everyone was stuck in. There's another particular retail giant that you can get virtually anything, and they are actually...
the smiley face one.
Huh?
The logo is a smiley face.
Is it?
It's a smile. It is.
Oh, I didn't remember.
Oh, they pull up at your door and it makes you smile, doesn't it?
Not usually.
There you go.
But they are actually now the Jimmy Johns of retail. In a minute, before you even press the send button, they're going to be showing up with it. But that makes it too easy, too convenient. If you are depressed and it's the middle of the night and you're ordering this, chances are you probably really don't need it. If you can't think of someone you plan to gift it to, something you need to wear it, a product you need for your grooming, your hair, or personal needs,
Or your home.
chances are if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you probably don't need it for your home because you've got everything you need. You just are having an emotional need and you want it. So again, you got the resources and the time, turn off the shopping.
We used to call it retail therapy,
Yeah.
but I guess you can get too much of that good thing too.
Well, there are some things that are too much you can't get enough of, but this
Anyway.
is one of them. This is one of them. So, again, shopping. Lots of people love to shop. There's no way that you should have I actually know someone who had a mom who her mother actually had items all along the wall, and they were from floor to ceiling, things that had never even been opened. That is something to consider. That's a bigger issue. So
Yeah, that's more like an addiction, isn't it?
an addiction.
Yeah.
So anyway, now going to the third thing that we have chosen. And what is that?
Sex.
Yes, we said it's sex. Now, one of the things that I would like to say about it is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it at a vintage age. But just because you can does not mean that you should, right? Yes, we don't have to worry about babies. Thank God. And all those things that come along, but come along with it. But just like with the people who are no longer who aren't vintage yet, we do have to be concerned about certain things like STDs. Yes, I said it, STDs. Practice safe sex. Okay?
I heard that, speaking of STDs, there's a very popular community in one of the southern states that
Florida.
has... Okay, you're going to go there. That has one of the highest instances of STDs, and it's among all of their senior residents.
Yeah, because there's one man who systematically infected virtually
Oh, what a guy. Such a giving person.
he loves to give.
The gift that keeps on giving and
Yeah.
giving and
And
giving
giving.
and giving.
And again, because you can do it does not mean you should. And why are the reasons for this happening? A lot of it has to do because people are living longer. People are finding themselves at this age that they're either divorced or that they lost a spouse due to death. They're also finding that they're finding themselves in communities where they're surrounded by a very limited group of people, so they feel like they're safe, but that isn't necessarily the case. That's something that one should consider. Just for a little food for thought, a little information, is that according to U.S. News in the December 2018 issue, the fastest growing number of STDs are in people over the age of 60.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that includes hepatitis B, trichomonas, chlamydia, herpes simplex, gonorrhea, and syphilis. Scary, very sobering. So don't think because you are vintage that you can't. Some people will call it a vice, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's natural and it's normal. We're living longer, and many of us are no longer sitting in a rocking chair waiting to die. I know I'm not, and I'm not going to. I'm going to as long as I can, I will. But it doesn't mean that you should. But if you do, be safe. Be safe.
Right.
So
when it comes to vices, I think that what we're trying to say is be careful, be safe, think before you act, and hopefully you'll live your best life for as long as you possibly want to.
because we have fewer years left in order to enjoy these vices. And there's a much more significant bad outcome, if we don't take heed to being careful. Because with the food, there are health ramifications. With the shopping, there's financial ramifications. And with the sex, there's also health ramifications. So the other thing...
There could be money ramifications too, depending on where you go.
Vintage
What you
vapor.
get.
Yes,
Never
a
mind.
vintage vapor.
Vintage vapor.
How much you had to pay for something?
I don't pay.
Well, anyway. There you go.
I'm just saying. But another thing to consider too, that I did leave out, one of the big things is that we have so many diseases that are becoming superbug. They're superbugs. The antibiotics that used to cure them before are no longer curing them. And because some people of a certain age are taking certain medicines that they can't take other medicines with, and that's also a concern. So do keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with having vices, just keep in mind, when you're vintage, more long-term ramifications behind some of the things you do.
Did you know that if you're taking the birth control pill and you're on antibiotics, the antibiotics will cancel the effectiveness of the birth control pill?
Yes.
Don't have to worry about that anymore, do we?
Yes. Thank God. But food for thought. Now, with those things said, we're going to keep it a little bit briefer today than the last time. We still have Vintage Vixen's words of wisdom. Okay.
I'll go first if that's okay, PG.
Okay, Blue.
Always strive to be your best person and to continue learning more every day. It's okay to be content, but don't be satisfied.
I like that.
Thanks.
Great words of wisdom. Well, my words of wisdom are, as always, a little different. My words of wisdom have to do with, I'm sure you've all heard the saying, never let them see you sweat. Well, I say never let them see you sweat unless they're really that good. And then they'll be flattered.
And with that, we're going to sign off. So until next time, we are Vintage Vixens and Vino. Bye.
Bye.